Be honest with me for a second. You read a new word, you look it up, nod your head, and then poof, by Tuesday it's completely vanished. It's kind of like your brain has a bouncer that just kicks new vocabulary right out the back door. If you struggle to remember new English words, or if you find yourself, just freezing up when you try to use them in actual conversations, you are definitely not alone. It is such an incredibly frustrating cycle to be stuck in.
But hey, welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here. Today, we're bringing you a super straightforward, highly effective 5-step toolkit. And look, we aren't just going to give you a generic list of tips. We're actually looking at how your brain processes language. We're going to completely transform how you learn and, more importantly, retain English vocabulary. And we're backing it all up with real cognitive science.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our roadmap for today. 1. The vocabulary learning struggle. 2. Context and daily practice. 3. Reading for new words. 4. The power of review. 5. Expanding with synonyms. And 6. Consistency is your key.
So, starting off with part 1, the vocabulary learning struggle, moving past passive memorization. Which brings us right to part 2, context and daily practice, using words in real sentences. Think about what happens in your mind when you try to learn something new. On one hand, you've got rote memorization, right? Just telling yourself over and over that a word means very large. Well, that's flat, it's boring, and honestly, it's highly forgettable. But on the other hand, imagine visualizing a massive, stomping elephant right next to the word enormous. Suddenly, boom, the concept sticks. What's really interesting about this slide is what cognitive scientists actually call cognitive anchoring. Learning words inside vivid, real sentences literally helps your brain anchor that abstract word to a tangible, memorable picture. Let's consider a really simple application. I am delighted to meet my friend. When you learn a new word, like delighted, please don't just log it in a notebook to collect dust somewhere. Actively try to use it in your own speaking and writing as soon as you possibly can. And here's the actual science behind this. Active usage forces your brain's neural pathways to strengthen. The more you produce the word in your daily life, the deeper those pathways are carved right into your memory. It's literally like working out a muscle. Moving on to part 3, reading for new words, exposing yourself to vocabulary. Reading is where we naturally discover new language out in its native habitat. Whenever you're reading an article or a book and you stumble upon an unknown word, you need a reliable system. You should trigger this 3-step micro-routine every single time. Step 1, capture it. Write it down immediately. Step 2, define it. Figure out what it actually means. And step 3, and listen, this is the absolute game changer here, make your own sentence. That last step is absolute magic because it ties an abstract, unfamiliar word to a personal memory, which your brain absolutely loves and holds on to for dear life. And the best part, this habit mathematically compounds. With just minimal daily effort, those individual sentences plant tiny little seeds that eventually grow into a massive, deeply rooted vocabulary foundation. You aren't just memorizing anymore. You're cultivating a rich, natural understanding of the whole language over time. Now for part 4, the power of review, moving to long-term memory. People often forget words simply because they never review them. But there's actually an exact psychological schedule you need to follow to beat what scientists call the forgetting curve. Here's how it works. You learn a word, then you review it after exactly 1 day, again after 1 week, and finally after 1 month. This technique is known as spaced repetition, and it essentially hacks your brain's storage system. By spacing out your reviews like this, you're sending a powerful signal to your brain that this information is vital, successfully moving it out of short-term holding and locking it permanently into your long-term memory. All right, part 5, expanding with synonyms, multiplying your vocabulary. This is where you become incredibly efficient with your learning. We're going to use a concept known as semantic clustering. Just imagine a core everyday idea, like happy. Instead of relying on just that one single word all the time, you can build a semantic cluster around it. By exploring related words, we multiply our vocabulary instantly into glad, delighted, and joyful. Now you aren't just sounding like a broken record repeating the exact same basic words over and over. You have this rich, nuanced variety of ways to express the exact same feeling. It makes your English sound significantly more natural and dynamic. And that brings us to our final section, part 6. Consistency is your key, the secret to long-term success. Look, building an impressive, fluent vocabulary just is not an overnight project. Your success is truly driven by the quiet, daily routines. It's those few words a day, the regular reading, the spaced repetition we talked about. Consistency isn't just a part of the strategy, it literally is the strategy. Trust the process, keep at it day by day, and I promise you, the results will absolutely follow.
I want to end our explainer today with a provocative little thought just to put your brand new toolkit into practice right now. Which new word are you going to use in a sentence today? Seriously, think about it. Don't wait for tomorrow. Pick a word, build a sentence, and take that very first step toward a stronger vocabulary right now. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll catch you next time.